The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Antes de tener mi cuenta de Chase Secure Banking, debía correr a la casa de cambio. Primer cargo. Luego, de nuevo a comprar giros postales para pagar servicios. 2 cargos más. Pero ahora, con Chase Secure Banking, puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un pequeño cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATM que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
All right. Well, that's right. In 2 weeks, it'll be Christmas Eve. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. That's impossible. Last month was like March, right?
Right.
No,
March seems like it was 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
March seems like it was back in 2016. This is the year that would never end.
It's going to be a weird Christmas.
Yeah. Someone has to write that song this year, right? Come on. Let's go, songwriters.
Oh, God.
Weird Christmas.
All of the pandemic Christmas songs that we're going to hear. I'm surprised we haven't heard some already. They're probably out there, and I'm just not. Well, where do you hear Christmas songs anymore? Like, you used to hear these, I guess maybe like podcasts aren't really taking up that slack. Yeah. You used to have like Christmas song parodies that would go on like morning DJ shows.
Yeah. Yeah. It's.
And even somebody like Adam Carolla who has, held on to that traditional format and managed to make it successful in a new media. He's not really doing the parody songs as much anymore either. And
even when he did, they were more specific to like inside jokes for his show.
Jokes, yeah. I'll tell you, Adam and I are taking a little bit of a break. And I still think that I disagree with him on a lot of things. I just think he's really funny and he's got an insanely funny brain. But I cannot do a daily podcast where I feel like I'm being lectured every fucking day. And that was I'm used to starting out my mornings with this. And because really there's not a comparable daily podcast that I can rely on. That kind of gives me a rhythm to my mornings,
Yeah.
You hear that theme song, you're like, it's time to make that coffee and get moving. But between the handling of coronavirus and school closings, and I get it. He's going out of his mind. Like what's going on in LA is kind of insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like all these lockdowns are bullshit or, regardless of any of that, I don't need to hear it on a daily fucking basis of him. That's all he's ranting about.
Yeah, I will agree.
Between that and the politics, it's just like it's too much. I need a break.
He's losing sight that that his podcast takes outside of the California bubble. I'll give you that one. It's like,
yeah,
dude, there's other shit. Like, I get it. You're from California and you talk about the shit that's going on around you. I get it. I understand. Trust me, I took a break from him a little bit on earlier this year because I thought some of the stances he was taking on coronavirus were crazy. It turns out some of it he was right about, but I get taking a break from it, and I get not wanting to feel lectured.
But it feels like I know what you mean. Some of the stuff he did turn out being right on, but he was saying it at a time where like you don't know that for a fact. You're not a scientist. Mm-hmm. Like you just happen to be right on this.
Yeah.
You know, he was like Homer Simpson. Like, by the time the meteor gets here, it's going to be as small as a chihuahua's head.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone even calls out that joke in that episode, though. It just, the meteor lands next to a chihuahua, and it goes like a chihuahua rolls up into the scene for no reason other than to sniff it and go, hey, see, look, it's as big as my head.
Yeah.
It's always great. Like, and his kids get freaked out when Homer's actually right. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, Dad. That was weird.
Oh, I miss good Simpsons.
I dipped back in. I was watching, like, the tail end. I was watching season 12 recently because I was trying to make the most of my Disney Plus subscription. They got me again. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to watch The Mandalorian, I should fucking pay for it. And plus, they've got all this other shit coming out, too. But, have you seen, like, they had their investor meeting call today, which is now apparently when all the big announcements are made about the shows that they're doing. They are, I think there were like 10 shows that they were doing.
Who, Disney Plus?
Yeah, Disney Plus is doing, let's see, this was just coming out before we were recording. So there's going to be a couple spin-offs of the Mandalorian. So I imagine one of those has got to be Ahsoka Tano. But have you seen do you know who Ahsoka Tano is?
I do not.
Okay. So this is a big character that was kind of the connecting character between the two cartoons. And I haven't seen a lot of these, so this is like secondhand knowledge. But so Ahsoka she was Anakin's Padawan.
Okay.
So there was a period between, when he was done training with, I don't know, it seems like there would be overlap. I don't know, the whole history of Anakin is so compressed. I think we talked about this recently, but...
Well, if it's his Padawan, this would be a dark side Padawan, correct? Like this.
No, so he's training her while he's still with the well, I don't know. I was going to say the rebels, but they weren't rebels at the time. They were the Federation or something. I don't know.
He was training her before he went to the dark side?
Before he turned, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Ahsoka is she's a Twi'lek. So remember the dude with the head tentacles and the fucked up teeth that is in Jabba's palace?
Yes.
I think he's the one who says, "Eat Jabba no bada." When they're trying to get into he's like, no solicitors, please. He's that dude.
Gotcha.
So he's a Twi'lek, and Ahsoka Tano is a Twi'lek as well. She just doesn't have the fucked up teeth for some reason. She's got nice, pretty teeth. And she's gorgeous. She's Rosario Dawson. She's like one of the most beautiful people in Hollywood, who just doesn't fucking age. She looks no fucking different than she did like back in like what would be the first thing that I saw Rosario in? Actually, probably a Kevin Smith movie.
The thing that stands out, the standout role for me is Clerks 2.
Yeah, but I know I've seen her in something before that. I want to say she was like in a Spike Lee joint or some shit. I can't remember.
Why don't she don't? Yeah. She was in a Spike. I don't remember which one, but yeah, she was in a Spike Lee movie.
I think that was probably her breakout role. I just can't remember which one it was.
I know she's my age. I believe she was born the same year. So yeah, she's
she's our generation. So yeah, so they're doing one of the shows is going to be Ahsoka Tano. So she's a Jedi. Not really. She survived Order 66, but she's not. I guess she didn't join up with the rebellion or anything like that. She's kind of on her own mission. She's kind of more like a Ronin. You know what a Ronin is? Like a Ronin is a samurai who doesn't have his, I don't know, what do you call a group of samurais? They have like an organization, right?
Your tribe, kind of.
Yeah. I wanted to say tribe, but that wasn't right. But yeah, basically a Ronin is a samurai without a tribe. So she's a Jedi without a tribe, a Ronin Jedi.
She's an independent contractor Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so much like Mandalorian, and probably the show will be structured a lot like that. This formatted structure of that's more traditional episodic television seems to be really working for them with this Mandalorian show. So I'm sure they'll keep that up.
Well, in true Disney fashion, they're finding something that works, and they're going to beat the living shit. They're going to wring everything they can out of it, because that's what Disney does. But
yeah,
why not? Could be worse.
Right, so they said there's 2 shows that are spinning off directly out of Mandalorian. I don't know if the Rangers of the New Republic is supposed to be one of those, but I thought the New Republic shit was all like hundreds of years earlier or some shit. I don't know. We've known about the Obi-Wan show. That was the one that's been in the works for a while.
Ewan McGregor still attached?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm in.
And Hayden Christensen will come back to...
Got to dust him off.
Yeah, dust him off. Oh, God. He wouldn't like that. Like, dust everywhere. All I see is dust.
Yeah.
I hate it.
He ended up being the Mark Hamill of that series, right? Like,
yeah, big time.
It's all you're going to be known for. Natalie Portman seemed to do all right, but Hayden Christensen's just going to be saddled with like that's the biggest thing of his career is those trilogies.
Honestly, like Natalie Portman's done so much shit, and she's such a what's the word I'm looking here for? She's like a Swiss Army knife. She's got a lot of different talents.
Renaissance woman.
Yeah, she can do anything, and honestly, sometimes I forget she was in Star Wars.
I think she might want that by design. The trilogy she picked.
But then you see her in that white midriff outfit.
Yeah, and then you're like,
right?
Yeah.
You're like, how could I ever forget that?
It's true. Oh, you know how you can forget that? Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Just watch that. Oh yeah. I've seen that one. I've seen both of those once. I'm good.
Apparently, there's going to be Diego Luna's character in Rogue One, who is Cassane Andor, and he's getting his own spin-off series. It's going to be out in a couple years. They're also working on a Lando series, but I guess they haven't secured Donald Glover for that yet. So we might see a third person play Lando.
You don't secure Donald Glover for that. I'm not sure how in on that I'm going to be.
I'm not sure how much that show is actually going to happen if they don't get Donald Glover, right? I mean, that was a big part of the reason that people even went to. People went to see Solo because it was a Star Wars movie, but it didn't do as well as the others. And if it didn't have Donald Glover in there as that in that great Lando role, it would have done a lot worse.
Yeah, he did a good job. I still think it was him doing a Billy D. Williams impression, but he still did a good job.
Yeah, well, how else can you do it? I mean, I
get it, right? You kind of have to play the guy who originated the character. You got to. I get it.
I mean, I hope that we get to a point soon where we can start kind of recasting and reimagining these characters a bit like we do with the Marvel universe. With the comics, it's different because there's no fixed version of Spider-Man, say. So rebooting him in the movies is no different, really. But having your original be tied to a specific actor, like I think this is another thing that we hit on last week was like Luke Skywalker is a character, and he's a good character, and it should live on beyond Mark Hamill and how they can represent it. It shouldn't just be Mark Hamill's version of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, just what threw me with his Lando was the voice.
Like he's pushing the voice a little. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have, if his voice didn't sound like him trying to sound like Billy D. Williams, I would have been fine with that. He still could have played the character relatively the same. But yet, to me, you talk about things that take you out of the movie. That his voice kind of did.
Yeah, and that's not something that we generally need. We don't need a voice. We need a general look, but it doesn't need to be like they don't need to look exactly like the person. We just need them to have the same flair that original character had.
Yeah.
He was he's kind of the yin to Han Solo's yang, right? They're both similar characters of the, somewhat ne'er-do-well rogue, but Han Solo is the curmudgeon-y type.
Yeah.
Who can't be bothered with most of this nonsense. And, and Lando is the guy who just everything rolled right off his back. And he always kept his cool.
Some would say he kept it smooth.
That's right.
Like a Colt 45.
So I don't know. Some show called The Acolyte.
Oh, why do I know that?
I think this is more High Republic shit. And not related to Star Wars, but I guess they're going to be doing a Willow show. That's going to be headed up by Patty Jenkins, who's been doing the Wonder Woman stuff.
Has there really been a call for that?
Willow? No, not at all.
Yeah, like
that's
if all the nerds been crying for the last 30 years, 35 years, hey, we should reboot Willow? No.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how they're going to do that. I mean, are we still in the era of casting a bunch of midgets for an alien race or what have you?
That whole sentence sounds problematic, sir. Cancel that sentence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about like the 80s. Midgets were all over the place, man.
Yeah.
There was like a whole group of midget actors that would all, I mean, like Time Bandits and Willow and, I don't know, it was just like anytime you needed something weird, like, hey, you could put a bunch of midgets in your movie.
Are we still supposed to say midget? I keep forgetting that.
That's right. I don't know. I thought midget came back around. Little person was another recent one. I guess I think at this point it depends on who you talk to. Who am I going to offend? I don't know any little people. I don't know any midgets. If I did, I would ask them, what would you prefer me to call you?
Right.
I think it's a person-by-person basis.
I Googled, can you say midget? First thing that comes up is the M word, little people of America.
I think that, if I remember correctly, there was a joke about how midgets were used in cinema, or little people, whatever you prefer, that was in, I think it was The Station Agent, which was I know I had seen Peter Dinklage in something before that, but that was kind of his big role where he got noticed. And he was doing a leading role in that movie. Have you ever seen The Station Agent?
I have not.
It's a very, it's a romantic film where a woman falls for a little person, a midget, and even though she thinks that would not be possible, I think, I believe it's in this movie. I might be wrong, but Peter Dinklage's character is cast for a movie, and they're doing like a dream sequence where the character is in the movie is having this surrealistic dream that's supposed to mean something, and it's like a white horse and all this fog in a forest and Peter Dinklage, and he's like, I'm just here like that. I'm just the midget because you need something weird to put in your movie. Very much a dig at David Lynch. He added the extra little kick of having his midget speak backwards, which was very disturbing. I got off topic here. What were we talking about?
Right.
I don't think we even covered all the Disney stuff that was announced. But who knows? I mean, who knows if any of this stuff is actually going to make it? And that's just the Star Wars. There's a whole nother slew of Marvel announcements too.
Could have all just been Disney doing like, hey, look at this. Pay no attention to to this section of our business bleeding money that used to be our theme parks.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's definitely what they're leaning on, is what they know is going to make the money. I mean, they've got almost 90 million subscribers now for their Disney Plus service. And there wasn't a lot of talk about movies or what they're going to do with that because I don't think they know.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Antes de tener mi cuenta de Chase Secure Banking, debía correr a la casa de cambio. Primer cargo. Luego, de nuevo a comprar giros postales para pagar servicios. 2 cargos más. Pero ahora, con Chase Secure Banking, puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un pequeño cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATMs que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
Antes de tener mi cuenta de Chase Secure Banking, debía correr a la casa de cambio. Primer cargo. Luego, de nuevo a comprar giros postales para pagar servicios. 2 cargos más. Pero ahora, con Chase Secure Banking, puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un pequeño cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATMs que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
Estar adelante de mis pagos mensuales siempre fue un desafío y no creía que hubiera otra forma de manejar mi dinero. Solía pagar cargos por cada cheque de cajero y giro postal, hasta que escuché sobre Chase Secure Banking. Ahora puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95. Así que decidí darle una segunda oportunidad a la banca.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATMs que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
They're not going the Warner Brothers route.
Well, now that Warner Brothers has kind of gone all in on this, I think everybody else is going to let them. They're going to see how Warner Brothers does. And, the more that
they're going to do fine. They hooked up with HBO Max.
Right. I think they will be fine. And because the more that I hear about how they actually have this planned, they've gotten rid of their free trial period. So if you want to sign up just to watch a movie, well, then you got to sign up for a month. So you give them $15 and you get to watch the movie and anything else that they have on the service for the next 30 days. And then that's it. But then the next month, there's going to be something else out that you're going to want to watch. So you're like, all right, well, just let it roll. I mean, they've got enough movies in the can that they can do. I think there's like 8 movies that they have planned over the next year. So that's going to keep people, used to paying for it, at which point they're going to get used to watching other shows on it and used to seeing it on their bill every month. And it's just going to be a thing that just is. So I think this will help them ramp up pretty well. Although Christopher Nolan was not happy about it.
Yeah, I was reading those articles and it's like,
yeah,
okay, I get it, buddy. You're an artist, you're a filmmaker, blah, blah, blah.
I think that he was personally offended that Warner Brothers was using his movie Tenet as an example of why they are going to streaming. Because, regardless of whatever deal they had signed, part of the reason why the New Mutants movie didn't go to streaming is because they signed a deal with however these contracts works with distribution in the theaters and all that. But the deal that they signed for that movie require that it be shown in theaters, right? Which is something they do. You can't take this movie and just decide halfway through, it's not going so well, let's put it straight to video, which is something that they do with movies occasionally. This isn't going to be a nationwide release. It's not going to make its money. Let's just see what we can get on selling DVDs of this shit.
Yeah.
So
better chance at making their money back doing it that way.
Right. So they sign these contracts. They're like, yeah, this movie has to be in the theater. Well, I'm sure they could have worked around that or did something else, but that's it. That's why that. And God, I lost my train of thought again.
Talk about Warner Brothers.
Right. So outside, I'm sure they had contracts like that for Tenet as well. But on top of that, Christopher Nolan is just a big believer in cinema. I mean, obviously that's his thing. And he does make beautiful movies. You know, I've loved every one of Christopher Nolan movies, even the ones that make zero sense. So in that way, he's kind of like David Lynch for me. Right? They're not all home runs. Some of them are real mind benders, and I love them. And others are just absolute nonsense, like Inception. But they're all beautiful looking movies. And they do look great in the theaters. They are movies that you should see on big screens under ideal circumstances.
Christopher Nolan can get together with Neil Young. They can hang out in a movie theater together and listen to Pono.
Yeah. It's our new, we got our new Pono streaming video player. Yeah. And it's as big as a movie screen.
Yeah. I get where he's coming from. And I get the film buffs are going to be with them, but at the same time, we talked about this a few weeks ago. You can get like a 70-inch TV for like $200 now.
Yeah, yeah.
You can have surround sound in your living room for under $200. Like, you can still have the same experience, Christopher Nolan, in your living room.
Well, that's what Kevin Smith was saying. He's like, oh, well, so, not everyone's going to get to see these on the big screen. Well, I'm going to get to see it on a big screen because that's what I have in my home.
Yeah.
He said, I have a 110-inch, and that's not even that insane. I'm sure there's people who I know who have TVs that big.
Yeah.
It's an investment, but it's not like, oh, you've got to be, lottery rich to afford that.
And if you're still married to that movie experience, go to 7-Eleven and, give them $10 for a bag of popcorn and a 20-ounce. Like, here you go.
Yep. So I don't know. Christopher Nolan's not wrong about anything that he said, really. He's most of it was opinion, so he can't really be wrong. But he's also right in that their app is dog shit, and it's been a mess. We talked about the rollout's been a mess. The content is great. I'm loving it. That's all that really matters for me. As long as it plays, every once in a while it's glitchy, but what app isn't? But yeah, he was.
You think he's just old man yelling at a cloud?
He said that they're the worst streaming apps. He says, this is part of his quote, some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service.
Hey, guess what? In the middle of a pandemic, they're working. They don't give a shit. Did you ever think of that one, Christopher Nolan?
Yeah. And some of these filmmakers might actually be thinking, oh, good, now people are going to see my movie.
Yeah, this might get more movies made than fucking comic book movies. Sorry, comic book movie fans.
There's a lot of people at the top involved in making these decisions that have direct, financial interest in these movies doing well, right? A big box office, if they have points on that, whether they're a top name actor that has that in their contract or they're a producer on this, they have direct interest in this movie being released in theaters and making tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars. But there's a lot of other people involved in making these films. They've already made this film, right? So the director, if he doesn't have some deal where he gets points on it, sure, he wants the movie to do well, but he also just wants it to be seen so that he can get his next job, or the set director, or the casting agent, or any of the not top billed actors that are in that are just like, I was in a Warner Brothers film. That was a big deal for me. I'm only in one scene, but that comes out, I'm, acting across some big name actor. So there are some people, Christopher Nolan is part of a small percentage of people who might have been directly affected by this. But there's going to be a lot more people that are like, what my contribution to this thing is going to be seen, and that's good.
Well, look at it this way. Look at what happened with Netflix, how that increased the quality of the television shows that were being made. It might do the same with movies. Studios might take chances on things that aren't tentpole movies once again because they'll make money.
Right.
The whole reason that there's 900 Avengers movies is because they make money, because that's all people will go out to the theater to see nowadays. You might actually you might find the new Kevin Smith again, making movies this way.
Right, and that's another smaller class that Christopher Nolan belongs to. He is a visionary filmmaker who makes films that draw big numbers, right? So he's able to make what's the word I'm looking for? Non-branded movies, right? Christopher Nolan, so he made the Batman stuff, right? But that's not his usual fare.
Hey, you gotta pay the mortgage somehow, right?
Right. So he's one who he's got his own ideas. He wants to make his own original movies, right? And he does them, and they're successful. And that in ways that most original stuff, especially the weirder ideas that he's dabbling in, these are not successful. And he's doing this based solely on again, these movies are entertaining and really fun to watch even when they don't make sense. But he is way outside the norm. And this could be this decision by Warner Brothers, and which I'm guessing will be a success, and I am predicting that others will follow, could be something that actually saves the mid-range movie, that actually gives you a good outlet for a movie that costs less than $50 million to make, does not have special effects, but can still attract good quality talent and make decent money. And a lot of people will see it. I mean, that's really already happening.
Yeah, if the studio's got a chance to make their money, if it's not going to put people in the theater, but people will take more of a chance on it if they don't have to leave their house, watch on a streaming. You might get more of those art house type movies made again. Whereas there's a huge void in them for the last 15, 20 years. They're all relegated to film festivals, right? They don't make it to the movie theaters anymore.
Yeah, and I don't believe that Warner Brothers is. It's not like they haven't considered this. This is just the best possible decision out of a lot of bad decisions that they have. They don't have any good options here, and they're going to piss off somebody one way or another. But it seems to me like they're trying to do this in the most reasonable way possible. Because what you have to factor in, too, is that all these people that sign contracts to be involved in these movies that, again, have points, that are basing their payout on, well, this movie is going to hit the theaters, it's almost guaranteed to do X amount of money, so I'm expected that, my payout, you're going to pay me so much on the front end to do this project, but I'm going to get a big payout on the back end when it hits the theaters. And now it's not going to hit the theaters in a big way. Well, guess what? It wasn't going to hit the theaters in a big way anyway. That decision really wasn't up to Warner Brothers. And also Warner Brothers they've actually paid out bonuses on Wonder Woman based on what the estimated box office would have been. So if Patty Jenkins has points on it and they say, well, your movie was predicted to do $500 million worldwide. So you've got, here's a bonus that would be equivalent to that, your point payout based on the predicted box office, right?
Or two, because it could be just based on eyeballs, right? If this many people came in, if this many people would have saw it in the theater, this is what you would have made.
Yeah, I think going forward, they will find new ways to factor that in and to bonus out based on that. But like I said, they're trying to do their best with existing contracts that they have, contracts that were made pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And that we're assuming that these things were not going to change.
And this could be Warner Brothers trying to be wildly proactive. This could be Warner Brothers preparing for no more movie theaters.
Right. Or not, or just a drastic shift in what the movie theater market looks like.
Or significantly less movie theaters. Like in a world where there's
specialty stuff. Mm-hmm. More along the lines of what the Roadhouse. Isn't that what they're called?
Swayze?
No. They're not. What? It's like a small movie theater chain that's popped up in major cities.
Imagine?
No, they do. Yeah, Roadhouse. Okay, Roadhouse Cinemas. It is Roadhouse.
Oh. What are they? Just the throwback movie experience?
So yeah, I had to re-up my subscription. I did my month-long protest of Disney Plus for them not putting New Mutants on the streaming service. Then I got over it.
You were mad you had to buy New Mutants. You were mad you had to pay money for it.
Yeah. Well, it kind of worked out, right? It was $6.99 for a month of Disney Plus, and it was $5.99 to get the New Mutants.
Hey, listen, asshole, since you made me pay for this, you don't get my money for a month.
Yeah. I made it work out. But yeah, with the Mandalorian now, I can't not watch that. And then everything else that's just going to come pouring out of the streaming service. Starting next month, we're getting WandaVision, and that's going to be the start of all the Marvel stuff. So it's going to be a consistent deluge of Marvel and Star Wars stuff that, I mean, I haven't not watched any of it yet. Right? Well, I don't know what the limit is on how many Star Wars and Marvel live action properties you can make before I stop watching all of them, but I think we're quite far away from that yet.
I mean, if they start making them shitty, you'll tap out.
Oh yeah, eventually they'll make something shitty, I'm sure. But even then, it's got to be really shitty. Because there's going to be something that ties into everything else in that shitty show.
Like Ben Affleck first Daredevil movie shitty?
Right. You know, that's not even like, I don't know. That movie's kind of ridiculous. It's not that bad.
Oh, it's ridiculous, all right.
It's still entertaining. It's not as bad as the Jennifer Gardner, what was she did, it was kind of a spin-off of Daredevil. The chick with the Ninja Turtle weapons.
Oh, God damn it.
You remember? She dressed all in red.
Hold on.
It's driving me nuts now because I should know this.
Is that where they met, making that movie?
I think so. I'm not a big fan of Jennifer Garner. I don't think that she's a good actor. And definitely not when you put her in a costume like that. She gets... People think that she's... Elektra, thank you. People think that she's good because she's got that strong jaw. She's got that big face that just looks good on a big screen. I'll give her that.
She's all right looking. To me, she's always been like Office hot.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I trust me, I get a lot of shit for this, but I throw in a can of... I earn Aniston. Like, I've never understood why people think... Like, Aniston to me is Office hot. Like... I don't get it.
Oh, I don't know. I think it really depends on what character she's playing. I think if she's playing an annoying character, she's Office hot. When she's playing a character that I like, can transform into like amazingly beautiful.
The only time I ever thought Jennifer Aniston was hot was in Horrible Bosses, and half of it was just with the character she was playing. But yeah. But I do remember watching that movie going, God damn, that's a woman in her 40s? Good for her.
I think even in Morning Show, she looks amazing. She is gorgeous in that show.
But she's just somebody that I've just always had, everyone thinks she's super hot. I'm like, dude, she looks like just average chick that's hot. Like,
I think she's
no Margot Robbie, is what I'm saying.
Like, she's scientifically hot, right? She has everything's in the right place. She's symmetrical. She's well proportioned.
I feel like we're having the argument they had on The Office about Hilary Swank.
I don't remember that specifically.
You're making like the exact point Oscar was making. like he was doing he had some kind of something with her face and a whole bunch of like triangles or whatever. Right, he was talking about the symmetry of her face. Like,
he's talking about taken independently. Like, she has a lot of like great features that all add up into something that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Anna Paquin is a good one like that. I think that she's super beautiful, but like only when she's playing certain roles. Like there's other roles where she just kind of, like her as Rogue in the X-Men movies was just kind of bland. Even when they actually got her in a costume, you're like, it's not really doing anything.
Yeah, she. You know what? I'll agree
but her
with you.
in True Blood, like she's so sexy in that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Sookie wore on me. But like,
well, the whole show kind of wore on me.
Yeah.
It really didn't go anywhere, did it? It was just sexy and fun.
Why are they rebooting? It's not even been off the air 10 years. They're already talking about rebooting it.
Yeah, apparently Anna Paquin was surprised by that. After she was like, I'm right here. Guys, I'm still here.
The show
I
just
still look
ended
the same.
In like 2013.
Right. I look exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would that is such a weird thing to reboot because if you want to do a sexy vampire show, do a sexy vampire show.
Yeah.
No, you can.
No one's
going
Twilight
to
into a TV
accuse
show
you
yet.
of ripping off True Blood because everyone's done their own take on vampires, and they're always sexy. So vampires and sexiness always work together.
No one's made Twilight a TV show yet. There you go. Send a check to Care of the Weedsman Podcast. There's a new idea for you, HBO.
So I guess Roberto, I do not know how to pronounce this name, but he was the showrunner. Oh, no, he was not. Jamie O'Brien was the Nosferatu showrunner. And I've heard good things about that show. That's, I guess that's supposed to be like a modern, well, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's NOS number 4, A number 2.
Oh, God.
Nosferatu.
I see what they did there.
Right. So it looks like every time I see it, I imagine him as like, I imagine the show's about like an asshole vampire dentist. And he has like, some Porsche. He's got a Porsche 911 with like a customized license plate that says that, and that's what's on it, Nosferatu. That's what it looks like.
And he wears a visor upside down and backwards.
No, he'd have to wear the visor correctly because it shades the sun. He has to stay out of the sun.
That's true.
Yeah, he'd wear 2 of them.
But
it's the double visor, right? The one's backwards and upside down, and the other one's forward.
But it's cocked to the side, though.
Right.
Yeah, no one's ever made the sexy douchebag vampire flick. Hey, they're sexy vampires, but they're also douchebags.
Well, we've done. I think there's been some successful vampire parodies. Like, what was the one movie in the 90s? Oh, God. Oh, it's almost in my head.
Well, wasn't Buffy supposed to be a parody on all that shit? Or did I wildly misunderstand the concept?
Buffy was weird because Buffy was taking a tongue-in-cheek concept and treating it seriously.
Because
it's not. I mean, like, it was a fun show. I'm not saying that it was always serious, but I don't know.
Well, just
Buffy's so weird.
The movie was like it was even in the name. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was. Like I thought the movie was supposed to be.
It was the last person that you would think to fight vampires fights vampires. But even in that, like, well, I don't know. Joss Whedon is such a weirdo. He's able to, when he is on, which isn't all the time, he's able to hit a tone so perfectly that it's almost hard to describe. I think that between Buffy and Cabin in the Woods, those are both, I was going to say movies, but they're both projects that he's done that cross so many genre lines and there's such a mix up of all different types of influences that they're really difficult to even pigeonhole and just go, oh, this is this is an action movie or this is a horror movie or whatever. But yeah, more sexy vampires. You want to do another sexy vampire show? Fine. I'll check it out.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new. our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth, and as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth, and as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
I've been on lookout for some good comedies, though, really. I've kind of been getting worn out on the 1 hour dramas.
Yeah, it's...
And the good half-hour comedies are getting harder to find.
You find anything worth watching?
I did. So, I've been enjoying the Larry Sanders Show. So I've been finding some old stuff that still holds up. But as far as new content, not finding as much. And I don't know what's going on with that half-hour comedy format. I mean, there's a lot of what you identified as Adult Swim humor that has bled into the traditional half-hour comedy.
Is that the mainstream way of saying stoner humor now?
It might be, yeah. So, like Moonbase 8, which I don't know if you've seen ads for that.
I've heard positive word of mouth on it.
It's a Showtime show that stars Fred Armisen and John C. Reilly and Tim Heidecker.
Yeah, like on paper, I should love it.
It's an entertaining show. It skips along fine. It was a short 6-episode first season. It's a really small show. It was something that it probably got greenlit during COVID and made really quickly because if you don't know the concept for it, so the three of them are NASA trainees and they're working on a moon base in the middle of the desert as a simulation for, hoping to get bumped up to the majors basically and go into space. So they're the team of underdogs. And they have other people that come on the show. They have some guest stars and stuff, but it's never a cast that's bigger than 6 people at one time in an episode.
I heard Travis Kelce is hilarious in it.
Travis Kelce,
the football player.
He must have been the big guy at the beginning of it. Yeah. So he dies right away.
But I hear he makes the most of his cameo. I heard he's pretty abusive to John C. Reilly.
No, it's almost disappointing because they have this great relationship. Like, John C. Reilly is supposed to be like the elder, he's the captain of the crew. But because, the other guy is like just huge, he bullies him and like has him do his laundry and all that shit.
Dude, some real quick, some background on how big that guy is. On a football field, that guy looks huge. like no doubt on a football field when there are 21 other guys that are generally large human beings, you can tell where he is. He looks big compared to everybody else.
He still stands out.
Just some
you
background.
Recognize him even when you don't see his number.
Yes, just on some background on how big that dude actually is.
They have to make him a specialty helmet.
Yeah, like he is a large dude.
So, anyway, the Moonbase 8 is really charming. It's worth a watch. You're not going to bust your gut. You might slap your knee once or twice during an episode, but it's more in it's more charming than it is out and out funny.
I got a little gun shy after Space Force. I really wanted it to be funny.
I watched all the episodes and really tried, and there were aspects about it that I enjoy, and I see promise in it. It wasn't as cynical as it should have been, like a show like what's the other space show where they're traveling in the in basically a space cruise ship?
The Orville?
No, that's the Star Trek homage. No, the one with Hugh Laurie in it, and the guy that was in the Frozen movies as the snowman.
Josh Gad.
Yes. That show is like super cynical, and they were trying to go for some of that. You know, the whole episode where they're trying to get the monkey to like fix the spaceship or whatever.
That's where the show started losing me.
It got close to it.
I get what they were trying to do, but
right.
To me, like if you're gonna go absurd, you got to go like way absurd. I don't know. There's a fine line, and to me that scene crossed it. Like
absurd humor is a fine balance. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to hit.
Like,
I don't know. I bet
that scene sounded hilarious in the writers' room at 3 a.m. when everyone was punchy, maybe a little high. But when it came down to like executing, I was like, I remember watching it like I should think this is funny, but I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. So Moonbase 8, I think, is a good concept and something that was strong enough. I would give it another shot if they gave this a second season, and I think they could still do something with this. It just didn't really hit it out of the park. Another show that got closer, was funnier. I think the Moonbase 8 was Truth Seekers, which is an Amazon show, and that's from that's Nick Frost and what's his name that did Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Simon Pegg
and Hot Fuzz, yeah.
Oh,
so
they're back together. They got the band back together.
Yes. So Simon Pegg, I think he plays the boss, and I think he's only in like a handful of episodes. He's not a lead part, but the big guy, Nick Frost, is the lead in this one, and he plays a cable installer that is just an enthusiast of ghost stories. He's a ghost hunter, on the side. Takes this stuff really seriously, and it has a very Ghostbusters vibe to it. He's making these devices in his basement that'll help him, hunt down ghosts or whatever. And he starts stumbling into actual ghosts, and has his little team. There's a girl who gets roped into all this because she gets possessed or something weird. And there's the new recruit that he's supposed to be training. And it's just a really fun show. I mean, it's...
The Google card says, paranormal investigators set out to film ghost sightings, but as their supernatural experience grow more frequent, they begin to uncover a conspiracy that could bring about Armageddon for the entire human race.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that, so I haven't watched all the episodes. I've made a little bit over, I think, halfway on it. So I don't know yet what the bigger thing tying it all together is. So it's fun. I mean, if you found their brand of humor, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, if you like it, this is right along those lines. And if you like it, like I said, it's got a heavy Ghostbusters vibe to it.
74% with the critics, 88% with the people.
But overall, I think and I haven't seen as many episodes of this yet, but as far as a good half-hour comedy, the people have spoken on Ted Lasso, and in this case, I think the people are right.
I keep hearing, I listen to the Scrubs Rewatch podcast because it's made by the same guy who's made Bill Lasso, who made Ted Lasso. So there's been a lot of talk about that on that podcast, and and I guess too, it's a lot of positive word of mouth on Ted Lasso as well.
Yep. I really enjoy it. I mean, it's not, it's a sports comedy, kind of.
98% with the people.
Yeah.
Mandy and I started to watch it. I think I'm going to have to try to watch it on my own because you throw in sports and you lose her.
Right. I think, I just like how invested Jason Sudeikis and how much he's totally lost in this character that he's created. Because Jason Sudeikis he's been for 20 years now the guy that you call when you're like, well, it says here in the script we need an asshole. Mm-hmm. Or if we need a douchebag that's going to sleep with the main character's girl.
Or if you just need a guy.
Yeah, just generic dude number 2.
Yeah, he's played just a guy in a lot of movies.
I'm Guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. They didn't name my character. I'm just a guy.
Well, look at him in 30 Rock, right? It was the most normal guy that Tina Fey ever dated. He was his character was just a guy.
But I've always found him really funny, and now he's playing against type, at least the type that he's been known for. And Ted Lasso is so not a douchebag, and not your typical he's not playing some Southern bigot, right? Ted Lasso apparently in the 2 episodes that I've seen so far, he's down. He's not down for anything. He just will accept, hey, whatever people are into, that's fine by me.
He's live and let live.
Very much so. Very accepting and just a pure spirit. I almost just don't care what the plot is, right? I get it. It's a fish out of water, right? You get to take a Southern dude, put him in England. You get to do compare and contrast with American sports and British sports or whatever. It's a classic trope that they're working with. But I just am so in love with the character of Ted Lasso. I just want to see him succeed. That's why I'm going to keep watching this show.
I think it's already been renewed, so I think you're getting season 2.
It's been renewed for 2 more, and it said that it's going to be a planned 3-season arc. So he's kind of going for the Danny McBride model.
Yeah, 3 seasons and I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, Vice Principals, I would have loved a 3rd season.
Oh yeah, me too.
I know the pandemic killed it, but we got to get it didn't kill it, but it slowed it down. We need to come on. Let's go on the 2nd season of Righteous Gemstones. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
what?
Righteous Gemstones, Succession.
Didn't they? No, they did it. They had a 2nd season, didn't they?
No, it was only that one. Only the 1st season.
Really? I don't know why I thought it was 2 seasons.
Because they had 2 seasons of Vice Principals. Almost a lot of the same people.
Right.
The same woman's in it.
But no,
Uncle Baby Billy's in it.
Yep. Uncle Baby Billy.
That is one of my favorite characters that guy has ever played.
Walton Goggins, yeah, dude. Yeah. I love him. He's really great in Justified.
Yeah, Mandy loves that show.
Yeah, I'm watching the final season right now. Doesn't really stand up, but it's still solid. And this is going to be the season that finally everything comes to a head between Walton Goggins' character and what's his name's character, the Marshal.
We tried to watch The Unicorn, but she's not into dramedies. She either wants comedy or drama. She doesn't like peanut butter in her chocolate in that case.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the way that they're going. That's the new format, especially for network television shows.
Well, she doesn't like Scrubs. We'll have because she's in a hospital. But I told her you'll be laughing, and then 5 minutes later you notice you have a tear in your eye. That's how that show rolls.
I was reading a story recently about somebody was talking about something that happened on the Scrubs podcast, right? So I don't listen to the podcast that you're describing, but and maybe you've heard this already. One of them was talking about a story of they were making an episode of Scrubs, And the episode was about, it was written as two of the main characters trying to find weed for a patient that wanted to smoke it because they were like suffering, right?
Yeah, it was they were going to try to find some pot because they were going with a medical marijuana storyline. They were trying to anyway in 2000 season 3, so it was like 2004.
Yeah, so the network censored it and they said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot have doctors going out and buying illegal street drugs for their patients. So they rewrote the episode as the patient wanted to get laid one last time before she died.
Oh, she was a virgin.
She was a virgin.
Laid. Yeah.
Right. She didn't want to die a virgin. And so they went out to find some rando to fuck her.
No, even more. No, what makes it even more absurd, no, they went out to find a male prostitute. The network was fine with the two characters going out to find a male prostitute. But no, we can't have doctors going to find illicit street drugs. Well, no,
it's
sir.
It's not like you're worried about STDs.
Yeah.
Not when you're terminal.
That's if you're a fan of Scrubs, that is a well-known story in the Scrubs universe.
That's great. I always think the best censorship joke has got to be The Simpsons. When I think it was the intro to one of the early Treehouse of Horror episodes. I think it was the one where the parental advisory logo in the corner ends up stabbing the guy. But do you see some person who's identified as like an exec at Fox or something like that, and he's going through the Treehouse of Horror sketch, and he's going crossing stuff out with his red pen. No, we're not going to do that. No AIDS monkeys or whatever the fuck he says. And then he just stops at one point and just starts bursting into laughter, like doubles over, is crying, pounding his fist on the table. That's how good this joke is. And then goes, no, and crosses it out. But yes, so that was meant also to work the transitionary story to get us into talking about the subject at hand, cannabis.
Weed.
Which we've wasted a lot of time this week talking about TV. Not a lot of stuff to go over on weed, but there was some big news, certainly. We had the House vote that we knew was going to happen. That they had just put it off, said, let's do this election first. Now that the election's over, I'm putting in quotes, the House votes on the MORE Act. They did get 5 Republicans to come over to their side, but
the Senate's it's gonna go down in flames.
Yeah,
but
there's no way.
But the only reason why, and I can't. I know I'm on this podcast, but I'm on board. Just kind of the same reason they tabled it. Like, we're still waiting on another stimulus bill, guys. Really, this passed before another stimulus bill. That's why the Senate's going to kill it. I bet if another stimulus bill had passed, it might have a shot in the Senate.
And that's certainly among the criticisms that are being slung at the Democrats for passing this, that they don't have their priorities straight.
Yeah, when I did, I was like, we're on the heels of no stimulus we're going on over a quarter now with no new stimulus deal, and I kind of had to I kind of saw it. And I was like, bad timing, guys, bad timing.
Yeah, but this should be just one of those easy things that you could get out of the way. Mm-hmm. So they only got 5 Republicans to sign to vote yes on this. But the polling on the approval of this decision of the House passing the MORE Act was at 66% across the board. So you got to get a pretty decent amount of conservatives to get up to 66%.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, I'm with you on it doesn't look good priority wise, but this should have already been passed. If our representatives are not in line with the voters on this,
I say tack it on to a stimulus bill. Just bury it in there.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
So Yeah, I mean, the House approved it. The majority of the people approved of the House approving it. And even the National Review is printing articles saying, yes, the feds should decriminalize marijuana.
Dude, it's over. I'm just saying, it was 4 red states and 1 blue state. Like, that should tell you something. Like, it's over. Like, we just had... To me, some of the states that legalized this last election blew my fucking mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an opinion piece from the editors, all the editors at the National Review, saying we generally favor deferring to tradition, but the fact that Republicans have been wrong on marijuana for a very long time is no reason for them to keep being wrong. And the Republicans have it very wrong on marijuana, with only 5 Republicans voting to support the measure. And yeah, they do note that it is expected to die in Mitch McConnell's Senate.
We are 2 years away from having recreational cannabis for a decade in this country. Like, everything's cool. Like, there's no fire and brimstone raining from the skies. There aren't kindergartners walking around shooting up. Like, it's over, all right? This gateway drug bullshit we've been fed for years is done. Get on board.
And they did manage to get bipartisan support, strong bipartisan support, for another bill that just passed this week to expand research on cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, so, wouldn't something like this open the door for something like that? Wouldn't these things go hand in hand?
Well, I guess it does make sense as far as from the Republicans' normal stance, which in recent history has been, well, I'm not completely opposed to this. I just think we need to study it more. Which, I mean, we've seen. I barely mention studies on this, mostly because, a lot of these studies they're not proving anything. We like to talk about preliminary findings and small study samples and stuff that isn't really actual scientific results. But if it's any indication of how much we have invested in studying cannabis, it appears to be quite a lot. And even to the point where there was a story that I read, let's see, where it was. Yes, this one, about hotboxing and how they were studying if hotboxing actually works and how it works. And I'm like, okay, like if we're studying hotboxing, then I think we've done enough studying on this.
Yeah.
Like we have the data. This story was funny because they're talking about it like it's a thing that you do, not just a thing that happens when you want to smoke in a place where you don't want to announce it. Like hotboxing is really you're smoking in a room or a vehicle where you don't want other people outside of that room or vehicle to know what you're doing inside.
Yeah, but here is the fundamental flaw in that. You're doing that because you don't want people to know that you're smoking, right? Well, guess what? When you come up on them, they're going to know you were smoking.
Yes. No, absolutely.
Yeah, they may not physically see the smoke. They're going to fucking smell you from a mile away. Just as somebody who used to hotbox, just say, I'm from the future, young stoners. This is how this story turns out.
So there's this story in LA Weekly. This is how they describe hotboxing. Hotboxing is commonly done in a car or in a bathroom, covering the opening in doors and windows with towels or whatever is on hand. Usually done with some friends, hotboxing is efficient, preventing the smoke from leaving said space and getting everyone involved very, very high. Sitting in a cloud of weed smoke sure sounds like a reliable way of absorbing as much cannabis as your body can, but the little science that's available says otherwise. And yeah, they go on to talk about a John Hopkins study that was studying, but it's not a thing, right? It's a thing that happens, but I had, like, you might say, let's go hotbox in my car, but that's because that's the available area that you have to smoke.
And we didn't call it hotboxing. We'd bake it out or something like that.
Right.
So bake out the car or something like that.
Yeah. But it wasn't like a thing, oh, you know what we should do? we should all go into the bathroom and close the door and stick a towel under the crack and just see how much we can fill that room up with smoke.
See, for us, it was more like roll the windows up. Don't let that shit out. I mean, that's... By the way, The Science of Hot Boxing. This is like an awesome rap album that somebody needs to make.
Yeah, that is a good album title. Oh, and another vote on cannabis this week, and we'll wrap up on. The UN voted to actually remove cannabis from their category of dangerous drugs.
Oh, cool. Does that mean you can start traveling with it across the world? Probably not.
Nope, it doesn't affect any individual country's laws on the drug.
Like most things that the UN does.
But, I mean, this is important because a lot of people that want to see cannabis remain on Schedule 1 and remain illegal federally point to the treaty with the UN on this. The 1961 Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs apparently was when this was all signed. But this is when the countries got together and decided, hey, what are the dangerous non-medical use drugs that we want to make sure that we're all controlling in the same way? And cannabis was put in with heroin and other types of addictive drugs. And that's been our reasoning for, that our drug policy was pretty much in line with the United Nations drug policy as far as categorization of drugs. Well, the UN's moved on. I think it's time for the U.S. to. It's way beyond time for this.
Yeah. Well, we have led the charge in the respect that we are now the country where cannabis is the most legal. Before it was the Netherlands, wherever the hell Amsterdam is. Now it's us.
This story in the New York Times about the UN's decision says, experts say the vote will have no immediate impact on loosening international controls because governments will still have jurisdiction on how to classify cannabis. But many countries look to global conventions for guidance. And United Nations recognition is a symbolic win for advocates of drug policy change who say that international law is out of date.
I agree.
Hear, hear.
Like most things the UN does, it's symbolic.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it.
So, all the news was symbolic this week.
You're right.
A lot of symbolic news. A lot of winds of change with no actual change occurring.
Yeah, but some indicators things are heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, we'll go out like George Costanza. We'll go out on a high note.
The pie might not be ready to eat yet, but you can smell it cooking.
Yeah, we got the recipe. Yeah, it's in the oven. We made it. Mm-hmm. And it's cooking. So follow us on Twitter at the Weezer420. Like us on Facebook. We're on Instagram at the Weezeman Podcast. Go to ChristmasMedia.net. Click through the Amazon banner. 2 weeks till Christmas. So while you're ordering that stuff, if you click through the banner, you can help us out. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Click on the PayPal button if you just want to give us cash. Yeah, you can give gifts to your loved ones through Amazon and gift us at the same time without taking anything out of your pocket. Yes. Win. See? That's how it goes. And double gifting. Yes. And then check us out at Spotify, Amazon. Oh, Audible now. Audible's in the podcast game. We're there as well. So you can check us out there. Brain fart. Spreaker.com, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever there's a podcast. If you drop us a rating, leave a review. Wherever. That's always nice. You can do it on any of those. On any of those, you can do it on Facebook. Wherever, if you like the show, just leave it a rating, leave it a review. Helps us out. Helps people looking for podcasts. Lets them know that you should check this out. So if you can do that, we'd appreciate it. And also, stay high. Stay high.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Estar adelante de mis pagos mensuales siempre fue un desafío y no creía que hubiera otra forma de manejar mi dinero. Solía pagar cargos por cada cheque de cajero y giro postal, hasta que escuché sobre Chase Secure Banking. Ahora puedo pagar servicios, cobrar cheques y enviar dinero, todo por un cargo mensual por servicio de $4.95. Así que decidí darle una segunda oportunidad a la banca.
Visita chase.com/Secure Banking para abrir tu cuenta sin depósito mínimo. Chase, logra más con lo que tienes.
Se aplican cargos por ATMs que no pertenecen a Chase. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. miembro de FDIC.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.